And when lawlessness prevails, or Vārṣṇeya, the women of the family become corrupted, and when women are corrupted, confusion of the caste arises. The very first effects of war, what happens, is that the women of the family and the women in society get corrupted. This verse is never written to make women appear shallow, it's there to protect women. The history of the world has given testament to one thing. Wherever a war has happened, the worst effect of the war has happened to women. It's not women's fault, it's because of what men's done. It's completely men's fault. A war took place in the 20th century between America and Vietnam. What happened is that when America was fighting, the Vietnamese men went out to war to fight. The women were left at home. What the American soldiers did, wherever they were stationed, they carried out rapes. There were so many rapes carried out in Vietnam that what's happened, this whole generation of children have been born in Vietnam that don't have those values, those family laws, and this whole generation of illegitimate children. I said earlier, I don't like the phrase illegitimate children, because it's never the children that are illegitimate, it's the parents that are illegitimate. That's what happened. Say when Pakistan invaded Bangladesh in 1971, record number of rapes ever carried out in war. It was over 1 million carried out. Bangladesh, similar problem. Vietnam, similar problem. Afghanistan, Iraq, look what the atrocities that the American soldiers have carried out. Exact same problem over there. These children that are born, there's no values, there's no morals. And the Vietnamese government has a massive problem what to do. They've completely lost their identity with their country. This is happening all over the world. That's the first effect of war. Women, this is never intended to make women appear shallow. Women are needed of protection during when war happens. When women become corrupted in a sense, there's nobody to save them and protect them. Arjun addresses Lord Krushna as Vārṣṇeya. Vārṣṇeya is someone that's born in a lineage of Vishnu. Arjun says indirectly, Lord Krishna, you've got pride in your lineage, but so have we. If we go to fight in this war, then our lineage will be destroyed. So when we're talking about family, Arjun related this to Lord Krishna's family. Because Vāṣṇeya has used very beautiful poetry here. Because if the women in the family are corrupted, children would mix blood, i.e. rapes carried out, children of mixed blood are born, and confusion of not the castes, but confusion of the whole system arises, the entire family values. So there's a very, very wrong accusation in the world that Indians have made women appear shallow. Whenever Guruji goes in front of women's organizations, he's often called out to quote, they always ask them questions. They always refer to the Manusmriti, which says, do not give women freedom. When a girl is young, she should be looked after her father. When she's married, she should be looked after her husband. When she's old, she should be looked after women. Women should not be given freedoms. When they ask him that question, Guruji always asks them with civility, have you seen the book of the Manusmriti? Answer always is no. And Guruji said, you're quoting the Manusmriti, but you've never seen the book of it. So how can you say that? There's many translations in English. Sanskrit is such a language, as Meera will know, that you can't directly translate it in English. And when you do, get completely wrong message. These verses are there and people wonder why they're there. And in terms of language, it makes Manu Bhagwan look bad. The verses in ancient scripture, it's completely, the whole grammar is messed up. The entire translation is messed up. That's why when people ask me for translation of the Mahabharata, I always say there's no accurate translation. The best accurate translation of the Gita is Radhakrishnan, but that's after a lot of commentary involved. You can't translate Sanskrit directly. And when verses for the Manusmriti are quoted like this, it makes Guruji sad. Guruji remembers in 1984, it was a birthday, it was a year of Dr. Ambedkar centenary. He's a very famous Indian poet. He was studying in college, and All India Radio gave invitations to all college students to come up and recite some poems. Guruji read some poems, other people read some poems. He read his poem in Gujarati, then a woman in Pune came and read a poem in Marathi. Guruji doesn't remember what she said, but he remembers one line. It says that the third eye opened and destroyed immediately the Manusmriti was destroyed. Guruji, obviously waited for the radio thing to be finished. Recording was stopped. When that happened, Guruji went straight to that woman. He said, I respect what you have about Dr. Ambedkar. It's a very nice poem you've written, but have you even seen a book of the Manusmriti? And just like when people ask, why did Lord Ram leave Sita in the forest? when Guruji asked, have you even seen a book of the Ramayana? Answer, 100% out of 100 times, it's no. Or they've read the translation. All the times, if you read it in Sanskrit, you find out that Sita, the moment where that happened, the reasons I explained, the thought in Sita's mind was, may I, in this life and all future lives, get a husband like Ram. She never had a feeling of hostility towards Ram. And Ram, he never did that thing based on the words of the washerman. The washerman character doesn't even exist in the Ramayana. People come up with all these statements where they never read it in Sanskrit, don't know the reason why these things happen, the dharmic reason behind it. If Sita doesn't criticize Ram, what right does anyone who's never seen a book of the Ramayana have the right to judge Lord Ram? So, same thing happened. Guruji said, I respect what you said, but what you said over here about the Manusmriti, like you say this and that, here's the English copy of the Manusmriti, he gave her the name of the book, she ordered it and told her, go and read this, and your question will be answered. He had respect for Dr. Ambedkarji and whatever she said about him, but whatever, when you get a translation straight out of Sanskrit scripture, don't take that translation to what it is. Because if you look at it, in the Geeta, it says in chapter 9, even those who are lowly born women, Vaishya Sudras, can come to me. Not a mistake. Lowly born is not an adjective, it's a noun. And if you think about it, Arjun was lowly born. Because Pandu was not his father. He was referring to Arjun. And the reason why he said women, Vaishnavas and Sudras, these three people are always discriminated against by society all over the world. If you look at these people discriminated, what Sri Krishna is saying here, doesn't matter if you're a man and a woman, it's exactly the same. In fact, women get higher respect. What I'm saying here, I'm saying it specifically that these people can attain to me, so no one can challenge that. A lot of people say that, all these fanatics claim that if you're a man, you do good deeds. If you're a woman, you get good deeds. You get born from a man. Rubbish. Guruji even says that if you find a scripture of the translation of the Gita that shows women as low or anything less than men, throw it into the bin. Guruji said that, and he said that from the Vyasapit. Throw it in the bin. The Gita never criticizes women, and you got the permission to do that from now on. Okay? So when that particular line where it says, when a girl is young, she should be looked after her father. When she's married, she should be looked after her husband. When she's old, she should be looked after her son. Women should be given no freedoms. Doesn't give that right perspective of the Manusmriti. It's an inaccurate translation. In fact, this wasn't even written about women in the first place. It was written about men. It was holding men out by the ear because of weakness in what men have, not in women. So what happened? The first line, when a woman is young, the man should look after her. What was happening? What was that to protect? It was when a girl is young, what the fathers were doing was that they thought that if I have a girl, I'll have to marry her in the end. After 20 years, she'll get married. She'll be a complete dead investment. So any money I spend on her education be a waste. Manu Bhagwan says no. Says that you have to educate her. You've got to look after her just like she's a son. And women used to go to schools that had complete equal rights as men. Complete equality. India was invaded by Greeks. Invaded by Islamic invaders. What happens when people invade another country? They can't steal property. They took two things, wealth and women. These people came, there were about thousands of women in one institution, young girls, and this is what happened. Parents got scared, they took women out of there. In ancient India, complete equality, and we saw earlier, the warriors in the Mahabharata were referred by the son of a woman. Women were given more respect than men. Okay? So that's the thing about the daughter. Second thing, when you get married to a woman, you should be looked after. This is to protect polygamy on the part of men. So what was happening? Men, this is teach women that men that women are not toys. When you marry, man marries a woman, after 2 years he gets frustrated with the relationship, polygamy would happen. They said, no, she's given up her independence for you, you've got to do the same. You've got to give her, she sacrificed for you to look after you, you've got to do the exact same to her. It's pulling men by the ear, not women. Third thing, when a woman is old, you have to look after her. This woman, this mother's looked after your entire life. And when she's gone old, do you just throw her away? No. Manu Bhagwan says no. When your woman is old, you've got to look after her, you've got to take care of her. You're not going to control her. She gets a whole independence. She gets to say what she has the right to say. You treat her equally, and you treat her with more respect than yourself. Women are higher than men. Any version of any scripture that says that women are lower than men, throw that in a bin. And Manu Bhagwan never said that. It's an inaccurate translation of the Manusmriti. Okay? So Manu Bhagwan knew about these social evils, and therefore he told fathers and husbands and sons, this is your responsibility. We must understand these scriptures correctly. Says, Arjun says, when women are corrupted, confusion of the caste arises. The next verse describes what happens when there's a confusion of the castes.